Here you go.
Oh, why did I start the pantry? Because I was poor, you know? And a lot of people are poor right now.
You too.
You know, I was on Social Security disability. I was a grandma. I took on custody, of my grandchildren and needed to feed them. At the time, I was living in a one-bedroom apartment. I had 4 children sleeping on the floor of the living room. I got involved with a group up in South Santa Clara County. I would go up and get food for my own family. And I found that they needed a farmer from this food reclamation group in South County, and so I became the farmer. But when I picked up the farm food, there's still a ton that's like really good to eat, and so I had to start sharing. The South County group that I was involved with, this food ministry, didn't have a nonprofit number, and the corporation started wanting a nonprofit number, and so I said I could do that. I went online, did a little research, and started a nonprofit. People think you need a lot of money to start a nonprofit. You don't need a lot of money to start a nonprofit. We scraped up $400, and we actually incorporated in the state of California so that our liability, would be covered. And then we started our nonprofit through the IRS, and I started reclaiming more and more. And what I did is I took my grocery money and put it in my gas tank, and I would run to the city because that's where the stores were willing to donate, and I would run to city 3-4 times a week to pick up the food and bring it back and share it. Pretty soon, once we had our nonprofit number, we were able to receive donations and grow, and more people wanted to be involved. And it was a lot of faith to put my grocery money in the gas tank. Now I don't have to anymore. It's self-sustaining. Sustainability is a big deal. There's a lot of reasons why I started this pantry. Our world needs to be more sustainable, and this is a good way to do it, is to not consume so much. Use what we have wisely, to reuse things for new purposes. We wanted to use our resources wisely, to feed the people, feed the animals, feed the earth, and not put so much waste into landfills. And
There's quite a bit today.
Yep, I saw that. We got to get some of this stuff out of the way so where we can get to it to drop it at Kara's.
my mom passed in 2014, and I was her caretaker. And that's when we started the pantry, was after she passed. My brother, Andy, stood up in the funeral and he challenged all of his brothers and sisters to do something in the name of our mother. Our mother was always concerned with the community, and my dad too, really concerned with the community. My mom was, a Relief Society president and really involved in the community and taking care of other people. I remember going with her to wash people's feet that had just had surgery. Just do service, like the deepest, kindest service. And we named it after her, Caroline. That was her name. I love that name. So I named it Caroline after her.
Ginger.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's it? Okay.
Yeah, that's all we have.
I was friends with Kara's mom, Caroline, and I'm also friends with Kara, and she needed another location, and she called and asked if we would do it because she knew we had room up here.
My mother-in-law was asked to do it, and she said okay, and she's like, I need some muscle, and so yeah, I was here, and that's how I did it.
Oh, we get everything. It's always a surprise.
Most of the time we get produce, sometimes we get bread, sometimes something extra fun will be in there, like a treat. It's really random. We never know what we're gonna get. That's kind of fun.
We get big bags of things like flour and rice sometimes that we divide up into smaller bags.
And you take it all. You never complain, because if it's not good for people, you make it good for animals. You compost it. If it's a whole pallet of potatoes, you take it. If it's a whole 2 pallets of onions, you take it. Never complain, always be grateful.
So we have a guy who comes and picks up all the stuff that isn't really people food anymore, and he takes it to a farm where they have animals and they use it for compost. And he's also used some stuff to plant his own garden. He used a bunch of old potatoes and planted potatoes. I didn't know that, like almost a half an acre of potatoes, on thrown out potatoes.
Sometimes other organizations in the community have overflow from their donations, and they'll call us and say, we don't have room, come and we'll get chicken. And when we have overflow, we share with them. And so we have a network of organizations, nonprofits in the community that we all work together so that we can feed the people. My kids are really involved, all of them. I mean, they do food runs, my older children. They come help me sort food. They help me serve.
Fill them up with
Yep.
beans.
And so they have a zippy close. You open them up like that.
Fill them up with beans and zip them shut.
Yep.
I hope they're paying attention. I hope that they see that feeding people and making sure that people are taken care of is worth our time and our sacrifice.
Jump on the little ones. Jump on them.
We didn't get really get peaches this week, so yeah.
We usually serve about 35 families a week, give or take.
We're serving between 60 and 70 families this week in the Friday Pantry alone. And South County Pantry, they have about 40 members on their rolls. And the Los Gatos Pantry probably has 40 to 50.
I think it helps people with their budgets, but I also think it helps the people that aren't working at all, especially right now. I had one lady send me a note this morning saying she really appreciated it because she can only work part-time right now. That's all the work they have for her. It's helping her budget. She's got kids. And
Take what you would have used on those groceries and do something for your kids with it. Make sure they have those violin lessons. Make sure they have those dance lessons.
The effect that I've noticed is that people are taking care of each other. We started helping a little bit of people, and then they started helping their neighbors, and they started helping their neighbors, and it kind of spreads beyond even our little effect, and I like that a lot.
Hello.
hello.
Puppies! We receive a food basket weekly from Caroline's Pantry. We didn't start receiving boxes until the coronavirus quarantine shutdown happened. We were talking to our next door neighbor and realized that they could use food, and so we started taking food over to her and her son. And from there, we found out, would go through the food that she could use, and anything she was not able to use, she shared with neighbors, and then if there's anything they couldn't use, they shared as well. So we've kind of built a network of community sharing food and looking out for each other as a result.
It's fun.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
you can pay your rent. You can pay your house payment, that you have food here to eat. And I'm gonna be here every week with this food so that you're not gonna lose your house, that you're gonna be able to pay your rent. Have the faith, pay your rent, come eat from the pantry.